Hello, wildlings. I'm your Creepsmith, and you found my Fear Forge. Lucky you. Tonight's tale, New Year, New Me, a bizarre adventure by AuthorJoJo. I don't know how long the stain was there. Maybe ever since I moved in, and I just never paid it any mind. The large splotch of faded darkness on the boring beige carpet in front of the TV. Boring beige. I suppose that's a bit redundant. It is right in front of the TV, so I just never thought about it. I was too busy looking at the television. I spend a lot of time in front of the TV. Sometimes it feels like I never leave the house. I wonder if I ever do. Empty delivery containers and ordered groceries. No one really needs to leave their house anymore. I guess that dark ring on the carpet is more of a companion than I've ever had. No one really comes over. I don't really invite anyone over. No one to invite. All I need are the voices ringing out from the TV and the occasional glances at strangers through the window as they drop things off for me. Lately, though, I find myself watching The Stain more than I do the television. It's familiar, like slipping under warm blankets. As I trotted around the house, I even began to notice smaller stains littered about. Well, not at random or anything. Small specks of faded darkness drip like breadcrumbs to my bedroom. They get smaller and smaller until vanishing completely. Small specks. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit redundant. I'm learning fairly quickly that I'm not very good at being present, at observing my surroundings. I wonder how many nights it took me to realize that even when the TV was turned off, there was a hum. Low at first, but when I first noticed it, there was no way to stop hearing it, besides drowning it out with the TV or gripping pillows over my ears. I learned to live with it. The fridge made a similar noise, and I don't mind that. It was the softer noise that brewed up, boiling and popping like bubbles. It sounded like someone had tilted their head back and tried to gargle tar, wet and sticky guttural disturbances. Those noises, I couldn't stand them. I looked all over the house for what could be causing it. The sink, I thought something had gotten stuck in there, and the garbage disposal tried to turn on, but couldn't. There was nothing in there, though. Maybe that's what made me first notice the other stains. I swore, the closer I was to it, the louder that noise got. One day, as the TV dimly lit the room in soft shades of blue, I knelt down. Tilting over, I put my head to the floor, and as I listened to the noise, it was as if the floor was growling. Then, when I pulled away, I noticed that my ear had become wet, so I rubbed the substance on my finger. It looked like black paint diluted with water. I sat for a while, rubbing my fingers together. It was slick. Washing my hands and head, I watched the trails of ink rushing into the sink and vanishing down the drain. Though I washed and washed, the substance had stained my fingers just like it had my floor. I watched the stain more than my TV. I sat on the couch and just looked at the filth. Scrubbing to the bone wouldn't pull it loose. No, it only grew larger and larger. Sometimes I thought I heard it thudding in unison with my beating heart, a heart that pumped ever faster as the trouble brewed in me. Day after day I watched. A little dark at the tip of my fingers had spread to take over 2 entire fingers. Like necrosis or frostbite, the shade of it deepened. A faint inkling of gray had surfaced, a darker heathen. It didn't hurt and I could articulate just fine. I was worried, of course, but what was I to say? Have I ever seen a doctor before? How do you get in touch with one? No, I just sat on the couch, watching the color of the stain on the carpet deepen in tandem with my fingers. Well, what had become most of my hand, actually. It wasn't long after the substance had taken nearly the entirety of my left hand that it started to bubble. Small pops would ring in my ear, like the noises of saliva swishing in my mouth. Looking down at my hand, I could see the color rise for a moment and then burst. There was a tingle that ran up my arm every time one of the bubbles burst. They'd appear in all sizes, with the larger ones causing nearly my entire body to shudder. They were linked, the carpet and my hand. The bubbles brewing in me were replicated on the carpet. The stain rose and lowered as they burst. It seemed more like I had cultivated a dark swamp in my living room as opposed to just a stain. The swamp grew more and more viscous as time went on, and the color spread on me. I'd try to sleep, but sometimes the once painless arm would jolt me awake with each pop. That's when I started writing this. I don't have anyone to tell about it. Looking around the house, I realized I don't even have a phone. I found this old thing shoved in the corner of my living room, haphazardly discarded. The stain has nearly taken over my whole arm now. It doesn't feel like my arm anymore, a stranger's limb glued to me loosely. I hadn't been paying much mind to the stain on the carpet, so I didn't see it at first. The stain in front of the TV had not only grown, but it was sprouting another stranger's limb, reaching out of it. A slender arm wrapped in the same wet and dark, sticky substance reached out from the mire and rested on the carpet. It looked like someone was trying to pull themselves out, but had given up. My heart wrenched, and my arm aches whenever I look at it. A longing for home, but a yearning to flee. I was conflicted. Every time I told myself I could just leave. Nothing compares to the fear that I have when I stand before the door, fingers laying on the knob. I can't bring myself to open the door to leave my home. My hand simply will not turn. A stranger's hand. Instead, I was forced to submit as the infection advanced. No matter how much my heart beat or my mind rattled, it was almost as if my fear was sustenance to it, basking in the torment. I became painfully aware of the relationship between my arm and the carpet as the ink spread up to my shoulder. In kind, the arm reaching out from the muck on the floor advanced more, revealing its own inky shoulder. It feels like acid corroding me, but there's nothing I can do. I fear trying further will only agitate it. It hurts. It hurts so much that I can tell that I'm dying. I don't want to die. What awaits me? A twilight as deep and as dark as the one resting in front of my TV? Sometimes I can write a little. Others I'm just writhing on the couch, gritting my teeth and clutching the fabric. The stain doesn't seem to spread to anything I touch. It remains where it is, unwilling to lose a drop. The pain was agonizing, and sleep had become something of a memory. So instead, I focused on the TV shows. Tried anything to pull my mind away from it all as the bags under my eyes grew as sickly as my arm. Pain was agonizing. I suppose that's a bit redundant. The sickness spreads and spreads. I can see it all over me, my chest and the other arm now. It's begun to reach down to my legs. That thing has crawled out farther. It's headless, though I suspect it won't stay that way. I can almost see the ink crawling upwards on its stumpy neck as the ink on me crawls further up my own throat. It's hard to breathe, like swallowing sewing needles, poking and prodding my insides all the way down. I'm weak. I barely have the strength to raise my fingers up to strike another key, and I suspect it won't be long until my legs fail. I'm dying. I'm really dying, and I haven't the faintest clue if I've ever even lived. It only now occurs to me what the date is. I was so caught up in my day-to-day routine of doing absolutely nothing that I didn't realize. It's about to be New Year. I can feel it, the ink, like an organism crawling under my skin. We're connecting now. Looking over, I can see him, moving, pulling himself up, finally able to articulate his limbs as the ink reaches my brain. It invades my memories, everything about me, though I fear there isn't much to be gained there. If I had more time, maybe I could fill my brain up with more. I'd have more to give you. I would leave. I'd see people, experience things, make a better me for you to become. I don't have that, though, do I? You're gripping my lungs, tugging my skin. I feel it. I can hear you, but I hardly have the strength to turn around anymore. Out of the corner of my eye, you're watching me just as I wish I could watch you. Your body, it's all there, huh? Your limbs, your organs. The ink is falling off, and I can see the lively skin tones that used to be mine underneath. I fear you so much, but you're no longer a stranger. I'm a stranger now. It's falling off where the infection began. The fingers, they're gone. But yours are plush and vivid. I'm just watching the clock, counting down the minutes until next year rolls over. I'm too tired. What's next? As my body crumbles away, I can feel sheets of myself falling, hot and searing mounds of me. Is pain still pain when you're accustomed to it? Sure as hell feels like it. Oh, look at that. It's almost time. If only I had more of it. Oh well, maybe you'll do better than me. Maybe this year you'll be a better me than I ever was before. Let's count it down together, okay? 3, 2, 1. How long has this been here? How bizarre I don't remember writing this. How many times have I written this before? Pages and pages of the same words. What was I planning to do with any of this? Is it a journal? The year just started and I already have so much to do. Clean up this mess in front of the TV and, I don't know, get a new laptop. This one doesn't seem to have much left in it. I'll just throw it over here for now. Maybe I'll just relax, watch some TV. Feeling awfully tired. Could have sworn someone else was in my house when I woke up, but it seems like a dream now. Yeah, I'll just clean up a little bit, order something to eat. Feels like I haven't eaten in days. And then tomorrow I don't know. We'll see. Start of the year, I gotta make some changes, though I can't say I'm sure how I was before. We'll figure it out. No rush. Even now, as I finish it, the glowing neon lights from the TV are beckoning me over like a siren's call. Shouldn't be too bad of a way to spend the day. I'd invite someone over, but the mess is something else. This stain all over the place looks like the laptop was leaking something, but it and the area around it are bone dry. Just a large, dark ring around me. Hey. Beckoning me like a siren's call. That's a bit redundant, isn't it? So stay scary, my wildlings. Remember, it's okay to occasionally wish you were someone else, but that process may not be as much fun as you think. And make the most of your nights. Oh, and Happy New Year.